Alright, so we're going to start off with our motherboard, and we have the ASRock H410M HDV with a M.2 support. This is probably the best motherboard as currently that you can get for like a $500 PC build, which is what we're doing. Let's go ahead and take it out of the box. We'll be using this SATA cable later for the hard drive. It looks pretty nice. Pretty good looking motherboard. Alright, so let's just get straight into installing the RAM. Right here we have the Evo Gel Potenza RAM. It's an 8GB stick. Now it would be better if you have dual channel RAM, but I'm pretty sure this motherboard does not support that. You know, obviously it don't, but so I'm just gonna go ahead and install this. It does not matter which one you install it. I'm just gonna install it in this one for no reason. Just why not? Now I wish I could go for 16GB, but literally everything is out of stock. So there you go, the RAM is in now. So now let's get to installing the SSD. Alright, thankfully my motherboard came with the little M.2 screw, so just go ahead and get that out. There we go. Here's our M.2. It's a 120GB Kingston M.2. Not the best, but we only need it for the Windows, so just gonna pry this open and get it out. There we go. SSD is out. Pretty nice looking SSD. Let's go ahead and install it. Put it like this. Make sure it's at an upward angle. Why is it so hard? Okay, there we go. Got our little screw here. Press this down, create a little pressure, and then we can screw it on. Alright, and now that that is done, we can get to installing our processor. I chose the i3-10100. Could have gone with the F, but whatever. So I'm just going to take this little tape off here. There we go. Just move this out of the way. I hate Intel stock cooler fans, but I mean, couldn't really afford one, so just gonna have to use this. And I'm pretty positive it comes with pre-applied thermal paste, so we don't gotta worry about thermal paste. Alright, let's get this. Yep, it does, so we're good on that. Make sure not to touch it because you don't want to mess it up. I'm just gonna set this aside right now. Yeah, I won't touch, whatever, I'm just going to put it like that. Alright, let's get the CPU out. There's our i3. Alright, let's get to installing this, then we will install the cooler. And actually, yeah, this cooler doesn't even need screws, that's cool. Just, yeah, it clips in. I've not used a cooler like that in so long. Alright, let's get to installing the processor. Alright, so we're just going to pull on this little lever and go just like that. Now let's take the CPU out. There we go. This is definitely not as fragile as the Ryzen CPUs because they have actual pins. Instead of Intel motherboards, it's actually built in the chipset, so don't gotta worry about that. But there's a CPU. Core i3-10100. Pretty good. Let's get to installing it. So as you can see here, I hope you can see that, but yeah, you can. There's a little arrow pointing down. So that is going to be, we're going to look for the arrow on the motherboard. And then that's exactly where we're going to face the CPU. We're just going to line the arrow up. Alright, it's very hard to see, and I know you can't see it on camera, but the arrow is right there. So we're just going to place it right in the socket. Just like so. Then all we got to do, pull back on this and the little plastic piece will pop right out. Sometimes it shoots out, but this time it didn't, but there we go. Don't need this. Now let's get to installing the cooler. Alright, so I just went ahead and took the cord out of the little clipper thing. I don't think it'll be long enough, but So let's just go and push the CPU in. Not the CPU, damn it, the cooler. So looks like you just push down and you twist it to lock it. It's not locked, but yep, just like that. We'll do it on this side. Turn it that way. There we go. And same with this one. Not gonna lie, it would have been easier if the RAM was not in here, but whatever, we got it in. So it actually has these little slots for a flathead screwdriver, so you can just apply pressure and then turn it where the arrow is pointing, and then CPU is in, not going anywhere. Now let's just plug this in. So yeah, I'm actually gonna take all of this out and route it the other way because it's not actually long enough. So I'm just gonna pull it around right here. Doesn't look the prettiest, but at least it'll actually go in. So, yep, you can see here there's this little slot and there's a little groove for it to go in. So you're just going to push down. Alright, so this right here is the Deep Cool Matrix 30. I've already taken the back panel off, and same with the front glass panel, which for a $30 case, this is a really good case. Like, I don't really care about the fan, but it comes with an actual glass side panel. First thing I'm going to do is actually install RGB fans. I have 2 of them. I'm going to put one right here as intake, and that one right there is exhaust. Alright, I have 2 RGB up here fans. They're very daggum cheap, and I'm just going to go screw them in. And the good thing, I don't think these can be controlled with the software, but if they can, they're going to be plugged directly in the motherboard with this one and this one. So theoretically, if it can work, then you should be able to control it, but if not, then that's fine. At least there's a little touch of RGB in this case. Alright, so I'm going to go screw it into there, and there, like I said, intake, exhaust. Just going to take that one out because I don't need it. Alright, it turns out I was actually wrong, because this is a 120mm fan. Obviously, I wasn't really looking at the screw holes. It actually has to be mounted right here. Now that both of these fans are installed, as you can see, I have one here and there. And put this panel back on. So just gonna make sure to route the fan cable through here. It's just gonna plug to the top of the motherboard, and this one's probably gonna plug to the bottom, whatever. Alright, so let's put this back on. There we go, fan is in there. This is brand new, but when we got it, my brother opened it up because this is his PC I'm building for him, but it's brand new, just so you guys know. This is an, how do you pronounce this? A RES game? Rs game? I don't even know, but 500 watt power supply, 80% bronze. Alright, here's the PSU. Feels pretty good quality. It's pretty good PSU. Alright, so move this out of the way for now. As you can see on the bottom, there's the obvious, there's also a mesh panel down there, but that's where the fan's supposed to be. So the fan on this is going to be facing downward. Alright, I'm just going to start by taking this cable cover thing off. We would definitely will not need nearly all of these cables, but hey, at least they're included. Alright, so let's unravel this a little bit. I'm going to place it just like that, and there are four screw holes right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can't see them, but if you build this exact PC, you will see them, and just screw them in that hole. Alright, now the power supply's in, nice and tug. So I'm gonna get the 24 pin cable right here first. Okay, yeah, we don't need like any of this, but alright, let's just get the 24 pin cable. I'm gonna route it through the back first. There we go, then through this, and boom, that's routed through there. Also route the CPU power, this PCIe, and the CPU is right here. So I'm just going to route it through here and route it through the top one. It's just going to go along the top and plug into the corner. Alright, so I'm not going to be using this one. I'm just going to use this one because, you know, it's the one that's the longest. Let me route that. And to this. This is such a mess right now. Alright, now that's there. Now I can install the motherboard, but I just gotta clear all this stuff out first. One thing that you cannot forget is installing the I/O shield. So I'm just going to push this in where the I/O goes, just like so. And you should hear it snap when it goes in. Alright, I heard the snap. Now time to slowly put the motherboard in. So just about like that. Move this out of the way. Then it should line directly up to the I/O shield. And literally perfectly lined up for me. So, yep, I/O is all where it should be. Push a little more, and it's perfectly lined up. All right, now there are several screw holes. Not all of them are going to fit because it depends on your motherboard size. So, there's one right there. I can't use that one, but there's one right here and there, and a lot of them I still can use. So just take your included motherboard screws that came with your case and screw it into all the holes that you can see the threads from. Alright, now I have all the screws in that I could actually screw, and I ended up using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 screws. So now I'm just going to, I'll start by doing the CPU. So it's going to go with a little clip facing upward. Just going to plug it in like so. Now it's time for the 24 pin cable. The clip is going to go facing this way. So just gonna bend this a little bit like that. Yep, and put this in. And didn't really hear a click. Wait, actually, yeah, I did. Never mind. Yep. So that's in. I'm just gonna pull this back. And while we're at it, this is part of the front I/O. Where is it? Yeah, right here. I'm just gonna plug in one of the fans. I don't know if this power supply does. Yeah, I don't think so. But some power supplies have a little connector that looks like that. You can just plug it up to that. But I already said I'm gonna plug it directly into the motherboard. So the front one I will plug in right here. There's a little. It says fan 1. And there's a little slot again, line it up. This is a 4-pin connector, but the fan's only 3, but the slot will show you where to put it. So just put it there. So that fan is in. And then the bottom fan is right here, and there's one little, cannot daggone talk. There's another port for the fan. It says fan 2, and once again it's a 4. And I'm switch that around, and you can plug it directly in. Just like so. Now I'll route this out of the way later. Now I guess we can start by getting what is known as the F panel and plugging it in right there. Alright, so now that I have all the F panel cables routed to this hole, I'm going to take the HD audio cable. I'm just going to put it under this and put it through that hole right there and out the other side. Alright, now that we are down here and the HD audio cable is routed through here, you can match the pins up that do not have holes with the one farthest on the right. And if you don't know which one it is, it will literally say right under it says HD audio. Plug it in. Just like so. I'm going to do the same thing with this USB. Alright, now it does not matter which one you plug it into, I'm just going to plug it into the first one right here. And boom, plugged in. Now I'm just going to shove this back here. Alright, now that I have the USB cable routed through there, I'm just going to route it through the same hole that I routed the 24-pin cable through, because the USB 3.0 port is literally right there. Some of the board it's on the bottom next to all the other like HD audio, USB, and F panel ports, but on this motherboard it's right there. Alright, here it is. Now, as you can see on this little USB 3.0 cable, there's a little thing right there for focus right there, and on the port, can't really tell, but it has that little groove. You're just going to line that up and push it in. Alright, so now we're going to be doing the F panel, and the first two things I'm going to be doing or using are the power LED. It's the negative and positive. We're just going to route that through. let's just say that hole right there. So let's go route. We can actually route all this stuff through that hole. Alright, now most motherboards, if not all of them, they actually are labeled under there. Now it's pretty hard to see. Pretty much we're just going to be cutting off that right there. So we're only going to be using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pins. We're not going to be using the one on the very far right. We're just going to be using these 4 right here. So you can't really see that. I can't really get close, but we kind of can. Positive, negative power LED. We're going to take this, the positive and negative power LED. We're going to plug it in. So the first one is the positive. I'm going to plug in just like that. The one next to it is the negative power LED. Also going to plug right to the right of it. Finally, there we go. Positive and negative power LED. Now you can just pull that through. Now next to that, if I read that under, it says power switch. So we're going to look for power switch, which is on this power SW, which is for power switch. That goes right to the right of that. Going to pull that through and plug it in like this. Boom. Now under that, it is HD LED and then reset switch. We're going to look for HD LED. That's reset. HD LED, which is right here. It just goes like this. You can see under there. Probably can't. And boom, just like that. So it goes right under the negative and positive power LED. Then right to the right of the HD LED, we do the reset switch, and it just goes right under the power switch. Put that in there, and boom. Now the F panel, which is I guess the hardest part, the booting PC is done. Now we can go to the back and pull all these cables through, and get to installing the graphics card. One thing I forgot is installing the hard drive. Now you can go with whatever kind of storage you want on that, or you can even go for SSD. But because this is a $500 build, I wanted the 500 GB hard drive. I actually have a 2 TB hard drive here, but I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use the Seagate Barracuda 500 GB hard drive instead. So this motherboard has 4 SATA slots right there. So this has a little clip here. You just put that in there. It's pretty self-explanatory. Yep, just like that. We put it in the bottom one right there, and boom, just clips in. Now I'm just gonna route this to that hole right there, because the ports in the power, or not the power supply, the hard drive I want facing backwards. I'm gonna route that through there, and then also, of course, we're gonna use these for the power. All right, I screwed the hard drive in, so I'm just gonna put the SATA cable right there, line the little thing up, and then all of this, literally we only need one of these for power unless you put 2 hard drives in there, which you usually could. So I'm just going to use this one because it's the closest one. Just going to put it right, I gotta switch this around actually. Put it right there. Alright, now that I have everything plugged in, I can start cable managing some of this. Before I do that, I'm going to get the GPU. Alright, now for the GPU, sadly I had to get it used, but I got the FXX RX 570 for like 130 bucks, so that's the MSRP price actually, but you can't buy it, you cannot buy it new for this price, so let's get to unboxing this. Jeez. Alright. Don't need that. Don't need that. Looks to be in pretty good condition. Let's just hope it works. Alright, and before we can put the GPU in, we need to take out the top and the second one from the top out. These are just the covers for the slots for the graphics card. So there's only one screw actually, I just gotta take that out. Then after that, this little thing should pop off. Alright, I have these 2 out now, and I'm just going to put the GPU in. This is very big for this case, but whatever. You should hear a click when it goes in. Alright, now that the graphics card is in, time to plug in the PCI Express power. Just gonna use this one right here. Wait, actually, yeah, whatever, let's use this one. Does not matter. Just plug that in. There you go, here's a little click. Now, I'm just gonna pull that through the back side, then we can actually get to cable managing. Alright, now as you can see, I tried to cable manage it. It sucks, but I mean, it's as good as I can do. And on the front, shoved all the cables under the hard drive bay because there's not a power supply cover, so I can't really do anything there. I put some zip ties and stuff, and that's probably as good as I can get it. And I'm just gonna go put the front panel and back panel on and see if it boots.